All right, y'all. Jordan Moorhead here with Keller Williams Realty. I'm going to go over a quick market update. Again, I always like to look month over month, and then we'll also talk about year over year. So we just closed out June. Obviously, we're halfway through July here. Just closed out June. So if you look at the market stats here, you're going to see June and May. We're always looking back, and we'll talk a little bit about what we see moving forward too. But right now, we're looking back at June of 2025, and we're going to go over those market stats here real quick. First off, going to compare them to May, but then I'll also hit some year-over-year stats also. So median sales price, it's slightly up there. You can see the median sales price increased by $100 in May to June. June is typically our busiest month for closings in real estate. I would think you'd see it's the hottest month in the Austin real estate market. I start to see things die off a little bit as the summer typically gets pretty hot. It's not been very hot here this summer. We're having an amazing summer in the Austin area. I don't even think it's broken 100 once. And I remember summers where there's more than 100 days over 100. So this year it's been awesome. But typically in June and July, people start to leave to go on their vacations. They're not looking so much. And then when football starts up here later in August is when they say the market comes back. So typically June, you're going to see the most amount of closings because all of that stuff went under contract in May. Then you're going to see July, it starts to get slower. August is a little slower because people are out of town. But we're going to go over what's happening this year and right now. Median sales price up $100 May over June. Almost not a measurable increase there. $100 is almost irrelevant when we're talking about real estate sales. Closed sales, those are down quite about 300 month over month, but they're actually up almost 1% year over year. Again, just think of that as really basically flat year over year. So things are pretty much the same as last year around this time. Sales dollar volume, that's up year over year, 2.5%. Absolutely something to talk about, but down month over month. There's a lot of pent-up demand here earlier in the year. I think we saw interest rates start to go down. We almost got below 6. Now we're back closer to 7. People were jumping into it in May, might explain why the volume is higher there. But again, that is up year over year. So it is trending up on a yearly basis, but it's trending down on a monthly basis there. Months of inventory, that's up half a month. So again, we're in a pretty solid buyer's market now. 5.5 months of inventory, and it's just a great time to be a buyer. It's a little tougher time to be a seller because of this kind of stuff. There's all these listings, and next we'll talk about that. New listings hitting the market. That's up year over year, down over 1,000 month over month. But again, look at that. That's 5% higher than last year. And then moving on to active listings. This is listings that are on the market. That's up 43.6% year over year. That's up over right at 3,000 month over month. There are a tremendous amount of homes sitting on the market, and I'll tell you why here. I know I've explained this before. So we look, we have 4,565 new homes came to the market in June. At the same time, in June, we had 2,762 closed. So that's a difference of just rounding up about 2,000 homes came to the market and didn't sell. So 2,500 went off the market. 4,500 new came to market. So extra 2,000. That's been happening in the last few months, as you can see. Looking back at May, 5,700 new listings came to the market. 3,000 closed. That's almost 3,000 more hit the market versus what sold. So we're taking some off, but we're putting a lot more on. So that's put us in a place where the active listings is over 17,000. Now, again, I know I've talked about this before too, but if you go back to, let's call it April of 2022, we had around 3 or 4,000 homes on the market. Now we have way more than that on the market. As you can see, we're still only 5.5 months of inventory. Technically, they say a buyer's market is over 6. I'm here to tell you, I've been working in real estate for 8 years now. We're absolutely in the best buyer's market we've been in a long time, seeing massive discounts happen. We've had a few properties recently, we've gotten 60 to 80,000 off the list price, even after they've had price decreases. So people that are out there selling and didn't do what you need to do to sell right are taking huge discounts right now. So again, pending sales, you'll see that's an important measure too, because that leads to closed sales. Not all of those pendings will close in the next month, and sometimes it could be a little more if people close in cash and close fast. But pending sales went from 4,515 to 2,760. So here's a good measure here too. Pending sales in May, 4,515. You're saying, Jordan, why didn't that end up closed sales 2,762 in June? Well, a lot of those that were pending in May closed in May. A lot of those also fell out of contract. It always happens. People back out during the option period. People lose financing for whatever reason. The property doesn't appraise, which actually, that last one is not happening very often where properties aren't appraising, but people are losing financing for whatever reason sometimes. And people back out during the option period all the time. It's challenging to be a buyer in a market like this where it looks like there's so much opportunity around you. You're thinking, why are people not jumping on this? And it makes you second guess where you're at. It takes some courage to be a buyer in a down market. Everybody's buying when the market's going up, but when everybody should be buying and the prices are down, it's scary to buy. So it's really easy to see people backing out during the option period for smaller reasons that really didn't matter that much. So just pay attention to that stuff when you're thinking about buying or you're thinking about selling and understand where the buyers are right now. They're nervous to buy. So if you're a buyer, great opportunity for you. If you're a seller, understand you're going to need to deal with that and you're going to need to make it easy for the buyer to buy. You're going to make it easy, comfortable, like they feel like they don't have to do anything. They're getting a great deal. Average days on market, that's up a little bit month over month. It's up a little bit year over year. It's almost an irrelevant change there too. But if we're looking at average close to list price, so that's down year over year. Again, I'm saying a lot of people are still listing their properties too high. They're not doing what they need to do to make them attractive to buyers. Again, because the buyers are feeling nervous. They're feeling like, man, I don't really want to take this risk right now. And if I'm going to, I want to get a great deal. I want to buy the best house in the best neighborhood and really feel great about it. And when sellers are getting pushy and they've got a property that's got some issues listed, and maybe they listed it too high, they're having to drop the price or they're opening themselves up to aggressive buyers that are going to come in and really lowball them. So that's leading to a lower average close to list price now than we even saw in May. And if we look at both these numbers, lower average close to list than in 2024. So just to recap, what does this mean for you as a buyer? If you're a buyer and you can get the courage right now and you've got the money and the ability to buy, you can capture properties at a much lower basis than you could over the past few years. I think buying right now is a great idea, provided you're looking at it with a long-term outlook. If you came to me and said, Jordan, I'm going to buy a property and sell it next year, and I want to buy something I'm going to make money on, I would say, well, you need to find something that you can just absolutely steal and needs a ton of work. And even then, I wouldn't recommend it because a year is too short of a time. Again, unless you're doing a massive amount of work and you're just stealing the property. If you said, Jordan, I want to buy a house that I'm going to own for 5 to 7 years, maybe a decade, I'd say this is a phenomenal time to buy. I am highly confident that prices are going to be higher over a longer period of time. I don't know when prices are going to start going up again, but I absolutely know they will. There's a ton of pent-up demand. There's a ton of cash sitting on the sidelines. Interest rates are probably going to go down here in the next few years. How much and when, I have no idea. I don't think anybody does. So if they tell you, run the other way. But if you're a buyer, great opportunities out there right now. And if you have the courage to take advantage of them, I think you're going to be really happy in the long run. I'm still buying rental properties at 8% rates because I'm finding stuff where the deal works. And I know once rates go down, I'm going to be really happy because I'm going to look like a genius. But again, you have to make sure the deal works for you now or the property works for you now. And you have a reasonable hold period of, call it five plus years. If you're a seller, you need to sell your property right now. Pay attention to what's happening to people that overprice their properties. Pay attention to what's happening to people that don't make them just amazing, excellent, move-in ready properties for people. Everything needs to be there. It needs to have great curb appeal. It needs to smell good when you walk inside. It needs to just be so attractive to any buyer out there. I know you don't want to paint it. I know you don't want to do those upgrades. I know you want to leave that for the buyer. It's not the time to do that. This is the time when you do that that you need to take a massive discount if you're going to do that because the adventurous buyers are not out there right now. The buyers that are out there right now want to get a great deal on a great house in a great area that they can move into and do nothing. Maybe they want to change the paint color later, but they don't want to move into a house they have to paint just to move in. Paint it some nice neutral color, make it look great, fix anything that's broken, do those upgrades, put in that countertop, fix up that bathroom, do that stuff, and you're going to get a good price right now compared to these people that are saying, well, I'm going to let the buyer do it later. That's the silliest thing I always hear. It does not work. If you're trying to make top dollar, make it attractive for buyers. You got to price it right. That's the most important thing, but make the property look great and be ready to make it super easy on the buyers. And when it comes to pricing it, rather than just looking at what has sold in the neighborhood, look what's selling in the neighborhood right now and come in right below that if you can. Again, we're trying to make it super attractive to buyers. That's one of the best ways to do this. Guys, I'm always here to help. Shoot me an email, jordan.moorhead@kw.com. Text or call 512-888-9122 at any time. Love to help you and would love to keep you updated on the market here.